All right, this is episode 3. I think I've named this mower Cathy. And since I was last on here with the how-to video, I removed the wheels. They're over here. And I wanted to show you how I did that. These are unique. There's no screw involved. There's a cotter pin right there and a washer. And the problem was that this is the original equipment. These little wheels, and they're in good condition, so I'm saving these. There's a kind of a short axle, so not every wheel will fit them. But I just didn't like, even at the highest setting, now let me rephrase that, where you put the wheels so that the deck is low, or if you put the wheels where the deck is high, this mower, even at the highest setting where the deck is the highest off the ground, it was still going to cut maybe 2.5 to 3 inches tall on the grass. So you could never cut your grass 3.5 or 4 inches. And my personal preference with mowers is that I like to set the front high versus the back. And that's because I like if I'm mowing like thick turf or tall grass, if the deck is 2 inches off the turf or 3 inches off the turf, you're going to run into the grass with this front edge, and you've got to muscle it over that to push it over the grass, and then it starts cutting. But if you set your mower high in the front, then it just rides up over the grass, and then the grass begins to contact the blades, or blade in this case, one. And it's cutting, and each pass of the blade, it takes off a little more of the blade of grass, a little more, because it's turning so fast that it's hitting the grass several times. And so it's actually helping the mulching effect. Instead of making, one cut, it's cutting it and then throwing it up to the top, and then the blade is then hitting it multiple times as it goes back until you get back to the final level. Because I've got it, high in the front, low in the back. I set the back the level that I want the grass to be. In other words, if I want to cut my grass 2.5 inches tall or 3 inches tall, I set the back there, and then I set the front high. So I just, easy rides over the grass, and then let the mower do the work instead of you having to do the work to get the front of the edge over the turf, over the grass. And I find that works best. So in this case, I've made this rat rod by using these big wheels off of an old pressure washer. I'll show you the kind of what I'm talking about. Here's another one that I worked on where I've moved the engine onto a lawnmower. But see those big wheels? That's what it is. So that these big wheels came off of a pressure washer, and I think that's great. Look at that. And so that's probably, I want to say that's probably 4.5, 5 inches maybe. And then if I want to go the other way, let me see if I can grab this while I got it on camera. Hang on a second. I'm moving this wheel adjuster down that way. Now it's even higher. See, that's like 6 inches. And as you know, some mowers do that. Some mowers, they'll have a 6-inch setting because you want to cut a pasture or something, or you have your really tall grass. You don't want to cut it all in one pass, and you end up having to cut it one time and then cut it down some, and then you come back and cut it again before you get it to where you like it. So anyway, I'm going to move this back now if I can. to where it was right there. That's the lowest setting, and even at the lowest setting now, see, it's going to be 3 or 4 inches high, which is what I like. And then I'll set the back wheels to the level I want the grass. Okay, so I've got the spark plug off, and we are going to. I did add some oil here because it was low, but the oil looked good. I have no idea if this mower is going to run or not. It does have compression, but sometimes they're worn out and they smoke like crazy, and it's not worth saving. But I get most of them going. So this is a Rally 22-inch mower. It's probably sold at Kmart. That's where I used to see them years ago. This one's 30 years old. Let's see if it says made in the USA. That's always good. So anyway, let's get to work on this thing and make some progress today. Let me set the camera down, and we'll go to work. All right. Before I forget, the first thing I'm going to do on this is I'm going to change the nuts that hold the wheel adjusters on, because they are not what I call a peened, P-E-E-N-E-D nut, and so they just screw on and off. But most wheel nuts that attach here, you know, hold the wheel on, those are peened nuts, or they'll have it's a nylon nut. So you begin to put it on, and it grabs the threads and isn't going to slip off from turning the wheels. Sometimes if you just use a regular nut, it'll rub this wheel, and the nut will just come off, and the wheel will come off. Same is true of the wheel adjusters. Vibration and things like that will cause those nuts to come off. And when I took the original nuts off these wheel adjusters, they were, I could tell there was Loctite on them. So you can do that. You can put Loctite on them, and that'll help them stay on. But I've got so many old parts around here, I'll just find me a nut that has a, you can usually tell if it's a peen nut if it has a dimple on the side. And maybe I can show you one. Let me take a look. This is my collection of, let me come around there where the camera is. This is my collection of what I call wheel nuts, and they are they're either going to be nylon, or sometimes you can tell by looking at them where instead of a round hole, it's actually kind of oblong, and that means it's going to grab those threads and not just spin loosely off. Let's see this one, I think. Let me see if I can show you this now. You see this nut here? There is a little dimple on that edge right there, and that means this one is, when you put it on, it's not perfectly round. It's going to grab those threads and not come off from vibration or anything. And I need to put these on these wheel adjusters inside. And let me show you another example of what I'm talking about. Okay, this is the same use for a nut that will hold a wheel on without coming off. And you can see the nylon right at the top. And that grabs the threads and keeps it from coming off. Another nut I like that you can sort of tell is, I was hoping to find one that had a big old base on it. That's a pretty big base. So see the base on that nut right there? It's big, and I think this is one that is not perfectly round, which means it's going to grab. So I try to save these when I find them, because I know I'll use them one day. So I've got those with the big base. I think will be the best for what I'm trying to do, which is attach these wheel adjusters so they don't come off. Okay, so I've grabbed these two that sort of match, and I'm going to try and put them on the wheel adjusters. Let me tilt this back. And let me see if you guys can see this now. Yeah. Okay, so I'll work on that one over there so you can see it. Here's the nut, and see it's not painted, and so it can easily come off, especially with turning and vibration. So I'm going to try and get this off with a see where my wrench went. Where are you? There we go. Okay. Here's my wrench, 9/16. I'm just trying to get this off of here. I'm not actually removing the wheel adjuster. I'm just getting this nut off and replacing it with one I think is better suited to this. Okay. So you can see with a peen nut, I couldn't do this with my fingers. It would just, it'd be too hard. That's what you want. You don't want it to come off easy. So that just slips right off. And I'm hoping this one is well, here's another hint right here that you can tell. It's hard to tell on this rusted thing, but there's a little edge there that tells you that this is not just a typical nut. So let's see if we get any resistance. If not, I'll pick another one. Let's slide right on. Okay, I'm feeling some resistance. So, it's not touching there. It's not touching the frame, but I'm feeling resistance because those threads are starting to grab because it is not round. And that means it's going to really grab onto this. I haven't made it real tight, but if I reach up here and I try and unscrew that, like the other one, no, it's not coming off. So that's the kind of nut that I want. That wheel adjuster. And when you mount wheels, it's real important to have that kind of thing. I may have to put a big socket on the other side. I'm probably, this grip is gripping so good, which is what I want, is probably turning the nut there. So let me take a look. I'm pretty sure it's probably turning that. Yeah. I'll have to take this wheel off to get to that. So I'll have to take my cotter pin out. So I just installed, basically sad, but that's okay. So I've got the cotter pin off, and got the wheel washer off, and now this will just slide off of there. So I don't want to lose this, so let me put it over here in this tray. And I've got to be able to grab this big nut on the side. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So, see this big, not a nut, this big screw is spinning every time I tighten that. Okay, so I've got to get something on there to stabilize that, and I'm going to use my breaker bar, which I used originally to get this off. There we go. So that's on there. Maybe I can use this wheel. I'll use this wheel to kind of not still. It's still just hanging around. Okay, let me take a pause here because I got to use both hands. So what I'm going to do is put that kind of nut on both of these, and then when you come back, we'll continue.